Welcome, everybody, to the Voices for Blogging podcast, where we have faces for radio and voices for blogging. You can find us on the Podbean app, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. As always, in Los Angeles, California, we have Royce Hamano. In the desert, we have the Bumblebee. And in Honolulu, we have me, Steve Lee.
Dude, he has his own sound effects.
Man, it's been a long time, boys. I feel like we said, yeah. And by the way, we got sound effects this year.
It's not the ones we planned.
So there's been a lot going on. You know, everything that we usually talk about in this cast, whether it be crypto, whether it be sports, whether it be the world in general, and life in general. But I think the biggest news so far is in our personal lives is, Royce, you're going to be moving to Vegas.
That's what I hear. I hear that's happening at some point. At least by June 15th, I have to find another place, or else I will be homeless. I'll be another statistic.
The bigger news too, on top of that, is your Bears are picking number one, and they got 9 minutes and 20 seconds left on that clock.
Oh, we're on the clock now? I mean,
You're on the clock.
They should have wrote that pick in a week ago.
Yeah.
Just like to make people sweat.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on your team going into this draft?
It's exciting, but yet also it's Chicago. So you have to temper your expectations. We're not good at offense. Maybe he'll be a great running back. I don't know.
You already had that. You traded that away. You already had a good running back.
We do that all the time.
Are you still of the opinion that the Bears should not draft offense?
That's a tough one. You always have hope. You always have hope that this is the time. This will be the one time that everything will work out. But at some point, you have to realize that is not your strength.
It is the life of a fan, though. You know. On that note, Bumble, how you liking Kirk Cousins being in Atlanta?
Yeah. That's all I gotta say is yeah. I mean, he's a mediocre quarterback. We paid him $180 million, and he's coming off of a torn Achilles. And we could have got Justin Fields, which I mean,
for nothing.
Yeah, for
apparently.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think he'll be able to distribute the ball because that's pretty much all he's going to have to do, and hopefully he's able to do 3/4 of what Matt Ryan was able to do when we had like all those pieces when we got to the Super Bowl. So hopefully, hand the ball off, let's run it, and then every now and again, throw the ball. So I think we're excited about the pieces that we have. I'm not too excited about the 2 wide receivers that we picked up. I mean, they're decent, but it's not like they're okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
the biggest question that I have is, why do the Steelers love picking up the Bears' trash? They did it with Trubisky. They're doing it with Fields. Like, I don't get it.
That's a good question.
I think the little stretch when Trubisky, he actually showed his abilities a little bit more when he was with the Steelers than when he was with the Bears. So I'm hoping, or I'm guessing, that's what they think is going to happen with Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is better than Mitch, but
of course,
we'll see.
Yeah. I think so too.
I mean, I think hands down. I think the thing with Justin Fields is like he just needs a fresh start, just like Alex Smith needed a fresh start to really see what he is. Whether he's going to at least even have that kind of success that Alex Smith had after he left the 49ers, because he already had success with the Niners right before he left there. He just got benched for Kaepernick. So, it's fun to watch.
And then the Steelers, he has a little bit more pieces on the offensive side. He got Pickens. He got, who's the running back over there?
Najee.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, they got some pieces for him to have a little bit of fun over there. So
yeah, I mean,
and I think their offensive line is a lot better too. So
yep.
You mean Russell Wilson has a lot of pieces to work with over
Well, I don't foresee
Mm.
Russell Wilson lasting the entire year. I just don't see that happening. So
Yeah.
well,
I think if there's a slow start, how do you not feel like you got to kick the tires on Justin Fields and just get this thing going? You know,
you can only see that look of disappointment on Russell Wilson's face when he throws an interception. It reminds me of that face that Matt Ryan used to make. Oh, so yeah.
Well, those looks, and the Eli Manning shoulder shrug, like, that thing killed me. I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls, but I couldn't stand that shoulder shrug and that head nod. Like, like, nah, man, you just cost me a bet, bruh. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that was rough, but I'm happy that we started talking about the Falcons and Bumble didn't get really upset yet because I kind of want to start a little segment called Angry Black Man. So I just want to give him like a 5 minutes piece at some point during this broadcast where we just let him have a 5-minute moment of just Angry Black Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to be angry about. Oh, the pick is in right now.
The pick's in.
Oh, is it in?
Yeah.
What took so long?
It's going to be Jaden Daniels. It's going to be a shocker.
It's going to be Michael Penix.
It's going to be Bo Nix.
It's going to be a wide receiver.
Guess what? They picked a punter.
Man. Such bad podcasting where we won't be talking, just watching TV.
Oh, not at all. I'm just gonna, so beautiful pink phone. He got his pink nails.
Oh, you went pink today?
It looks like they're pink. I can't tell.
It looks clear almost, huh? God, I can't believe we're not talking. We talk about nail polish right now. That's messed up.
Oh no, those are 100% pink, and they're happy about something. Jaden Daniels, here we go.
And that's it. I like Jaden Daniels a lot. Like before we know exactly where he gets picked, I like him in today's NFL.
The jury is still out on him too, in my eyes, because I got to see him play when he was at ASU. So
sure,
hopefully, what we saw him at LSU is what he's going to, and he's going to only get better. But if he dips back to that ASU, it's going to be a long season for wherever he plays. But the kid is good, man. He got skills.
And you let him be him, it'll be fine. If he doesn't last, he doesn't last. It's fine.
Yeah. Number one thing, they got to let him be him. So,
right.
Congratulations, Royce.
Well, there you go.
Look at that. The worst kept secret in America.
I'm not a fan of that suit.
Which one? The zipper part of it or the crosses?
It almost looks like a cross between a Michael Jackson outfit and a Prince outfit. It's just mixed together. So I don't get it. I don't know what he was going for.
Wow. He just had $50 million.
I think he's going to be good. He's going to be good.
You got people talking about him as being like the next Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like, wow, guys. That's a strong statement.
That is a very strong statement.
Like, I heard it on national broadcast, and I don't know if that's just trying to get clicks or whatever, but I was like, wow, that's a strong statement.
I don't think he has the same arm talent.
I think they're just talking about his improvising and all that kind of stuff. I think that's about all they're talking about. But
yeah,
man.
Well, he's going to have to do a lot of that this year.
Oh yeah, he's going to be running around for his life for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, he has
the one thing. What was that?
Go ahead.
The one thing that I will give him is when it comes to that improvise, it's just all heart and will. So that's the one thing that I give him so much respect for. However, when you see those clips, the guys that he's going to be going up against in the NFL is way more athletic than the guys that he saw in college where he was able to do those things. So it's going to be quite interesting to be able to see a lineman that can run just as fast as him and run him down, or a DN that can run just as fast as him and run him down. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I still think he's going to be able to do some of the things that he did in college, but I don't think it's going to be as crazy as it was when we were like, oh, wow, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, right? Justin Fields ran for his life, and he's a much better athlete than Caleb Williams is, and he got caught.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you want to look at RG3, I mean, perfect example. And I think RG3 is more athletic than both of those guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I will say he is smart about protecting himself. So that's
unlike RG3.
100%. 100%. So I think durability, he's going to be okay. I think that's one thing that he has going for him. So
I think
he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah. What is he, like 6'1", 230?
6'2", right? 6'2" something.
Yeah. 6'2", 220 something. I think 230. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, he's gonna be good.
He's with the Bears. He was with the Bears, so we'll see.
We all will pray. Look at that. They had 3 quarterbacks in the last 7 years.
7 years, 3 quarterbacks.
Jeez. Hey, but every single quarterback that they are showing right now is better than Desmond Ridder.
Man,
what were we thinking?
Well, you had Arthur Smith, man.
God, that guy's awful. He's gonna mess up Justin Fields, maybe. I forgot about Arthur
right?
Smith. He's at Pittsburgh.
Steelers, right?
Yeah. But I think Arthur Smith is better if he just focuses on the offense and nothing else. I think he'll be okay. His offense is not pretty. And then when you look at his game management and the calls that he would make for us, I was like, goodness gracious, this dude it's ridiculous. But when he was dialed in, he called some pretty good plays. So you never know.
I mean, it goes to that argument that not every great coordinator is going to be cut out to be a good head coach, right? Like sometimes you're a great coordinator, and there's nothing wrong with it. You're a great coordinator, though. It's really good.
Yeah. And Dan Quinn is the first one to tell you, like he struggled when he was at Atlanta, even though they went to the Super Bowl. He needed that time to go back and reassess and get better as the overall football coach, and now he thinks he's ready. Because after that first year of being at the Cowboys, he had multiple opportunities to go and be another head coach, but he just needed that extra time.
And now he's going to get the second pick in the draft, probably Jaden Daniels.
I think they're going to go May.
Dude, if they go May,
I would cry if they did, though. Like,
if they go May, the people that will pile in for that third pick to trade with Arizona, I think the trade market for that third pick will go through the roof.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
This would be a shitty pick to have. Like, I would not want to do this pick. I would trade this pick away. So.
If you didn't need a quarterback, or you could have got a quarterback in exchange for it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. We'll see.
Let's transition a little away from football before we bore people with football. But Royce, you got anything new going on here? You want to talk about this company you started in the time that we haven't had a podcast?
No, we actually talked about it in the last one, I think.
Any updates on it? How are things going?
Things are going all right, man. I've just been pretty busy, working with a bunch of clients and, building some apps, and we'll see how it goes when we're ready.
Well, and don't you have an app right now that's out kind of, you guys are almost beta testing a little bit. It sounds like a great app when it comes to like people that want to golf and golf with friends or network and try to find a way to like feel like tea times, sometimes you just want to go play with some other people. You want to share a little bit of that?
Yeah, so we're working on it right now. Basically, the problem, you guys golf, right? Like the problem, the problem with it when you book a tea time is book a tea time for 4 people. You have to fill them out. Like you have to find 3 other people. So typically what you do is you text a bunch of people or you email a bunch of people. They come back and say, I can't make it or whatever. Maybe one says yes. Now you got to find 2 other people. So you got to go out and email a bunch of people again, text a bunch of people again. And eventually you fill it up. But that whole process takes time. And what we're trying to do with this app is automate that process where, you just are able to invite everyone through this app. They can respond. You can see it in real time. And, the other thing is, golf is a social sport. When you go to play golf, sometimes you get paired off with, random people. And, sometimes you end up playing and, they're cool and you say, hey, like, give me your number. Maybe whenever we have a tea time again, we'll text you and, maybe we can play again. What happens is that like 3 weeks later, all you have is this number and this name and an open tea time. And so you text them and they say, yeah, and you have no idea who this person is until they show up. So, with this app, you'll have your own golfer profile and you'll be able to know like, oh, this is who this guy is, as opposed to not knowing who this person is at all.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. And so you can almost like pick if you want to play a more competitive round, because in this golfer profile, will it kind of say that person's handicap and those type of things?
Yeah,
so you
definitely.
can be more selective about it, because sometimes there's nothing worse than playing with someone that you feel like might play too slow and those type of things too, right? So it can make for a more enjoyable round of golf.
Yeah, definitely. So like we'll have, features in there that will, either have their handicap or, something where you can tell like how good, maybe some ratings as to how good they are as a golfer, how, fun they are to play golf with, things like that. And you can pair up basically based off of those things. Eventually we'll have scoring and things like that. But, for right now, it's just like the social aspect and the tee time scheduling and things like that.
So that's out there. What is the name of the app?
Full Tee, but it's not out there yet. So we're still working on it. We're working on the app versions for it. So once we have an iOS and Android version that's ready to go, and we worked out like some of the bugs and stuff, we'll launch it. And I think what we'll do at that time too is that we've talked about having this promotion where like if you schedule tee time through the app, for your feedback, we'll actually pay for the tee time up to like $100 or something. Say,
yeah, I could definitely see that working. Where you get people that are looking for a way to play, and it's one of these things where it is kind of fun to make sure that when you play, you can maybe make your round a little more predictable too. Where as far as like time you're going to be on the course and those type of things, depending, of course, what's happening with the other groups. But
yeah,
if you group yourself with all guys that are kind of playing about your level, I think sometimes that can get a little fun. People side bet or whatever, just kind of keeps you in your flow a little bit better.
Yeah, or you play with someone that's even better.
Correct.
Like you say you play with someone that's a semi-pro, and
right.
You can learn a lot from playing with that person, right? So
yeah, or even a pro, right? There's even a possibility where you could do a matchmaking thing where you want to play with a pro. That could be like some kind of upgrade, to their tee time reservation or something, or maybe that comes at a fee or what have you.
Yeah,
that's because it's such a different experience to play with a pro.
Yeah, really, and you can learn a lot from playing with a pro, I think.
Yes, having done it before, yes. So yeah, that's.
Oh, you played with me before?
Yeah. I play with Bumble because Bumble is still the only person I know to hole in one on the wrong hole. So
hey, hole in one, still a hole in one.
A hole in one is a hole in one, damn it! And my name should have been in the newspaper.
I know. I should have called it in. You said, the way we call in stats at the end of a football game. Like I should have called that stat in for Brandon Wilson. Crazy. Oh. So what else is new, man? Bumble, what's going on with you?
Nothing much, man. Just, teaching these kids, trying to get through this long 2 months with no break. The grind at the end of the year where the kids are pretty much done. So you're pulling teeth trying to get them to be motivated to finish the year. And looking forward to this summer. So going on a trip. So that's about it, man. There's nothing too much
when
going
get
on
out?
For me. We finished May 23rd. So.
Oh man, that's soon.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Soon.
May's next week already. So.
Well, yeah. Right. Don't remind me.
Right around the corner.
Ricey gonna be homeless in 6 weeks.
He knows he got a place to stay over here in the desert if he needs it.
I just gotta store all my junk.
Hey, we got an extra, what do you call that, garage, so there's storage there, so you're good.
Awesome, man. I may have to
get a U-Haul pod. We can get a U-Haul pod and you'll be A-okay, so you don't have to move it a whole bunch of times.
So. Any new shoe pickups?
The latest one that I got was Dusty Olives, which are dunks. So yeah,
nice.
Right there. Those are the latest ones. Oh, and then today I didn't hit. Me and my wife, we were on the app and I had her try for me and I tried. Of course, mine's took an L, but hers went through for the first time. She always loses, but she finally got it. So I got another pair of dunks. It's the veneers, so I'm excited about those.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. Nothing too crazy. Oh, I decided to go back to work at Nike part-time during the summer. so I can get the discount. So,
oh wow, yeah.
What
that's
what's
about
that?
it.
What's the shoe market like now? What is the aftermarket shoe market like now?
It's not as good as it was like during the pandemic or right before the pandemic. It has dropped like drastically. So it's like before, you can go out and buy all the hype shoes, but Nike got kind of smart with the hype shoes because they noticed things that, people are buying. So what did they do? They started restocking it and making more money.
Oh.
So it kind of drops the value of the shoes because there's more items out there. So right now, when it comes to like resellers, it's not so much, oh, go and hit this shoe and you're gonna get a big payday. It's more so you want to get quantity. You want to get a volume of it rather than just one shoe or two pairs. But there's
Mm.
still like, certain shoes out there that's super expensive or worth a lot of money. But nowadays it's not like a $300 pair of shoes. I mean, it's average now, but yeah.
Right.
So
So essentially, Nike decided they were just going to make the money themselves. They got tired of everybody else making the money, so bro, we'll just make more of the shoe.
yeah, for a lot of them. I mean, like you
Yeah.
still have like your certain ones, like your collabs where they won't do a restock, but like for those ones that they notice people just like and it's big hype that it's something that they can reproduce really really fast. Those are the things that they've been restocking. So, like for instance, that dunk that I was just talking about, the Dusty Olive, I believe that dropped back in 2001, and the
Mm-hmm.
veneers they dropped back in 2001 or 2000. I think it's 2000, 2001, and then it was popular, and a lot of people didn't get it, so those shoes were worth at one point like $400 or $500 a piece. But
Oh.
being that people really really wanted it, they started restocking those, and I think they did two restocks of the Dusty Olives already this year alone. So, and then they have the veneers was today, and then they're going to and then they did the plums earlier this month. So all of those like exclusive type shoes that had a big hype, all they're doing is just going back and saying, you know what, we know people want these, so we're going to
Mm-hmm.
drop them. And then while they're dropping it, and you have all those people holding it on ice,
Mm-hmm.
they're losing money if they don't get rid of those shoes fast because Nike is just dropping them again.
Yeah, they're losing their opportunity to make money on their shoe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
feel
what
like
what happens is they still go and they use the bots and then they just try and buy them all up, and then
Mm.
they get a whole bunch of pairs and then they still make their money.
Or they get
So,
backdoored.
yep. Yep. That
Backdoor,
still
man.
happens. That still happens. So yeah, it's a crazy game, but at the same time, it's like one of those. Like me personally, I just like to hunt. I like to look for it, and if
Mhm.
I can't get it for retail, I'm not about to spend all that money on a pair of shoes. So
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
I get it. I get it.
I'm a sucker though. I'm just trying to find a deal on one of those things.
Yeah.
But that's the way the shoe game used to be, right? It used to be like you could hunt it down and you
Mhm.
could get it for retail. You could find it from somebody like, even on eBay, you used to
Yep.
be able to get it like, for retail. But now I would say like since maybe like 2017-ish, I think.
Mhm.
That's when I think everything started blowing up and you started getting like tons of resellers and people, getting these shoes and holding on to them. And I don't know, that at least to me, it seemed like it was around then.
Yeah, like around 2017 is when it got popular. But
Yeah.
then like in 2019, 2020, 2021, that's when all the resellers started getting their stores.
Yeah.
And then that's when the shoes got even more crazier and more expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you can still find like deals on certain shoes, but like for instance, those Kobe's, like I didn't hit not one, three
Yeah.
losses like back to back on my wife's phone, and then lo and behold, my neighbor hit, and then he's like, I don't like these, so if you know somebody who wants them, I'll sell it to him. So. So if you want those South Beaches, he has them in a size 11.
Man, I guess everybody's a reseller in some way nowadays.
Well, he just wants his money back, so he's probably going to end up just returning it to the store. So yeah, and that's even working back at Nike. That's one thing that I notice is a lot of people,
Mm.
like especially the ones that don't know the shoe game, they hit on the shoe and then they get it and then they don't like it, they return it to the store, and then you're sitting there looking like, how the
You can
heck is
pick it
this
up,
sitting in the store? Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you can pick it up.
Yeah, well,
working there.
for us, they usually don't let us, like, if it comes in, it takes like a day for them to process it. And then from there, what happens is if it's something like a lot of the staff members want, they'll do like a raffle between the staff members, but it has to be in your shoe size.
Got it.
So
Got it. Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
But it's cool. Like we just had the Powder Puff Girls dunks come in, and it was like a size 7. I was like, well, that's not gonna be mine. So I mean,
Why
I could have got
not?
it for my wife or my daughter, but it's one of those things where there's girls that work there and it's their size, so they get first dibs on it. But if nobody wanted it, then of course it falls back to the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the shoe market kind of mirrors like the sports card market. Like some of that stuff, like it rebounded, but it didn't rebound back to what it was. Whereas the stock market and what we're going to talk about next, the crypto market, almost completely came back. Like back in the crypto market, I mean, Royce, like Bitcoin is near and around all time highs. It made an all time high, and then Ethereum kind of is hovering in this 3 to 4 thousand band, which you and I both have vested interest in wanting to see that go higher. But like, what's been your point of view recently with kind of the movement in crypto, especially in the last year, really, not just what's happened recently, the last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, it's just definitely been like a nice little rally, finally. It seems like a lot of the overhang from, the whole FTX debacle and Do Kwon, like the Terra Luna collapse, it seems like we've finally shaken that off as an industry. And I think the biggest thing that's been driving a lot of this stuff recently is all the Bitcoin ETF hype. Going into that and getting that approved, and then getting those launched. Like a lot of the money flow went into those Bitcoin ETFs, and I think it also generated a lot of interest in crypto again too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Fed this year. I don't think they're going to be doing a lot of rate cuts like people thought, but how that impacts crypto, and with all like the uncertainty around all these different wars that are being fought here and there, or it kind of remains to be seen. But like one of the biggest things I think has been happening is a lot of the trading in meme coins. Like I don't know if you've been following with any of that stuff, like Dog with Hat
Not
or
too
whatever.
much.
And it's been kind of crazy. So it seems like every other day, it seems like there's this new meme coin launch. There's so many different chains now where you can trade in these coins for very, very cheap. Not like Ethereum. Like Ethereum is pretty expensive in terms of transactions. Like on these other chains, like Base and things like that, it's very, very cheap and very, very fast. It's kind of like Solana or like Polygon, and there's a lot of people that are trading these meme coins and launching meme coins. A lot of them are pump and dumps, basically, like where, like,
Right.
if you're in early, the price goes up, you sell it, and then eventually it kind of slow bleeds out. But, for every, like, say, like 100,000 of those, there's a Pepe or whatever that, like, just goes nuts and can retain value over a long period of time and becomes a thing. Like, even like Doge was like that, right? Doge, Shiba Inu.
Yep. Shiba Inu. Yep.
Yeah. And so, like, I think every cycle there's going to be, one or two or three, maybe more of these things that catch on. And so, like, I know people that have curated a meme coin portfolio where they're actively putting money and investing into these kinds of things, and hoping for that Pepe or Doge or Shiba Inu or whatever. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's a lot of young.
Yeah, it seems like that's the speculative market in crypto showing some life.
Yes, definitely.
In some ways, is a sign that the market is continuing its comeback from where it was. I mean, much like the stock market did. It's really hard to ignore that it really has run up with the stock market. And with the ETFs, like it just in some ways legitimized, I think, Bitcoin in a lot of people's eyes. And it's stronger hands holding Bitcoin, like it's an ETF. Like, so guess what? There's institutions holding Bitcoin now that they're, as long as where people have demand for those ETFs, like they're going to be holding on to this Bitcoin, which is getting more and more rare with the halving that just happened also, right?
Yeah.
For the people that don't know what halving is, can you kind of explain real quick what halving in a cryptocurrency is?
Yeah, definitely. So, Bitcoin has a set inflation rate. In the beginning, it was like 50 Bitcoin a block. And so basically every 4 years, those block rewards get cut in half. And so it's basically like cutting the inflation rate of Bitcoin in half every 4 years. And so with this last halving, the block rewards or the inflation rate has been cut in half. Block rewards went from like 6 Bitcoin to 3. And eventually in another 4 years, it'll get cut in half again, where you basically have like 1 point, I think it's a little bit more than 6 and a little bit more than 3, but like say like it's 1.6 or 75 like in 4 years. So because the amount of Bitcoin that is getting it, put into the market is getting cut in half every year, the expectation is that, miners, which are, the people that are producing these blocks and are collecting these rewards, they have to get paid at a certain value of Bitcoin to be able to break even, in addition to the fees that they get paid by the transactions. And so there's this idea that, when that happens, the price of Bitcoin has to go up because these miners are not going to sell until they can, one, they're either forced to sell or they are able to successfully mine Bitcoin at a profit. Otherwise, they go out of business. So I think it's an interesting experiment. And, we don't know how exactly it's going to play out because eventually the block rewards are going to go to zero and the miners are going to make all of their money based off of fees. And at that point, the amount of fees that they can generate in Bitcoin has to at least equal, if not be greater than the amount of money that they're spending to secure the network and mine the coin.
Because there will become a point where there's no Bitcoin left to mine. And then if the rewards for mining gets cut more and more, the cost, just to reiterate what you're saying, the cost to get these Bitcoins onto the market, is just so high where now then we're pretty much if they're not releasing it to the market, then everyone's left to trade with whatever Bitcoin exists in the market, which is very finite because we've talked about before how some has been lost and lost forever. So that helps the scarcity value of Bitcoin, and it kind of gives it a really good backdrop for the long run. I think I read something recently. It's like since the last halving of Bitcoin price has increased fourfold. And again, we always say this all the time, right? Like this isn't financial advice. This is just us researching and reading and being kind of dumb about all this stuff. But if Bitcoin goes up 4 times from here, we're talking about $250,000.
Yeah. And there are some people that have price targets at that number, right? I don't put a lot into it because I don't think we can predict the future, but in theory, the value has to go up for these miners to, stay in business
to make money.
And
to make money. Yeah.
And if you want it to be successful, they have to stay in business because they're securing the network.
Well, you're around a lot of guys that have been involved and still are involved with crypto. What's been the atmosphere like around crypto? Like what's been the level of excitement, the intrigue, innovation, what have you? What's worked and what hasn't worked? When we look back now for the last couple of years from when it was at its very lows to where we are now.
I think the thing that people are talking about now is just all of these meme coins. Like that's like the hottest thing. And I think it has to do with the people that are, putting money into it. And I think it's a lot of the younger people. I think a lot of the younger people, they're disenfranchised with the current financial system, how inflation, how the economy is going, how real estate is going. And it's an escape, I think, and it's a way for them to step outside the current financial system and to, potentially become or make money.
Yeah, that there lies. It's actually a little scary if that's the case, right? Because if they're entering the market and they're entering on the most speculative side of the crypto market as their escape from traditional finance, that can actually be pretty dangerous too.
Yeah, I think it really ties in also to the whole premise behind like the Wall Street bet stuff. To me, it's kind of a similar sentiment. Taking down the establishment.
Yeah, fuck the man kind of thing. Yeah, help the man. To the man thing.
Yep. And I get it. I get it.
I get it. That the challenge is when we look back at the last 3-4 years, how has that thesis performed? I guess is what will be my question about that.
Yeah. That's a good question, right? Like, has it been, successful in, I think it's been successful for maybe a handful of people that got lucky.
Right.
Potentially.
Because maybe. No matter what, all the assets went down in price, no matter what. No matter what you were in, everything plummeted. And then everything came back, including the traditional finance, like I keep saying, where the stock market. And S&P was at all-time highs just as of a month ago. So, so it's like, it's almost like what's the flavor of the month, I guess, in some ways too, because
no, I mean, look at the stock market, right? It's like it's driven by like the top seven stocks.
Yep, flavor of the month kind of things, and driven by this hype around AI, and you and I talk a lot about AI, and how sometimes it gets a little overblown, and sometimes it gets too much credit for being what it is now, what it's going to be in the near future. I mean, in the distant future, it can be a lot. It can be Skynet, I guess. But, there's a lot of people talk about how it's like Skynet now. And when I say Skynet for the young listeners, I'm talking about the Terminator. And if you haven't seen the Terminator, go watch it. And
what the hell is that? What is the
Terminator? All right. So enough of a snooze fest talking about that stuff. Bubble, we're watching this draft, and this is as boring a draft as I've watched in a while. Like no action in the top 5. Harbaugh went offensive tackle. He went Bill Parcells playbook here. I'm gonna get the best tackle in the draft and start my team.
Put it this way, I was more interested in listening to what you guys were just talking about than watching this draft.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not even gonna lie. I actually was listening to you guys as the draft is playing in the background, and when you guys started talking about the cryptocurrency and stuff like that, I looked up Bitcoin. I did not know Bitcoin was at 64 right now. I still thought it was in the 30s. What the hell happened?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, so, on Wall Street, they started selling ETFs. You know what ETFs are? Electronic trading funds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they got approval from the feds to make these ETFs, essentially mutual funds in a different form for Bitcoin. And so what it does is it basically will go alongside the value of Bitcoin. And so I myself, being in Hawaii, where there's a limited amount of way to trade Bitcoin, I've been trading in and out of this one of the ETFs for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of action around it where, you can play the price swings in Bitcoin. And I think that's where some of the appreciation in price came from, because now the demand for Bitcoin's higher, the popularity is higher. And like it's, like I was saying earlier, like it has shadowed the stock market rise. Stock market goes up, crypto goes up. Okay, fine. So could we take away some of the theories of it being a separation from the financial markets? I think a lot of people can argue, yeah. I mean, it's an asset and it's growing, but it's a more legitimate asset today than it was 3-4 years ago, especially since we've gone through all these lawsuits, and people that held Bitcoin, like myself, in a Gemini account that was affected by these places blowing up, we're getting all of it back.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
so
awesome.
all like the lawsuits have all turned out where we're getting our assets back at current price values. So essentially we haven't lost anything, but we lost the opportunity to move around in it, but we haven't lost anything. It's just going to take them forever to get it back to us, but it's better than taking forever than not getting it at all. So, but yeah, so there's been a lot of movement, especially around Bitcoin, because of that, it really would seem. And then the ETFs for Ethereum are somewhere around the corner. No one really knows. Probably in the next 6 to 8 months that we might get approval for that ETF. So we might see a similar run in Ethereum, is what I think a lot of people are thinking as they're buying Ethereum. What do you think, Royce, about that?
No, I think so. I mean, definitely, I think institutions are going to put money into Bitcoin just because it's the most well known. And in terms of, some of the questions around, the SEC and things like that, I think it's the most safe in that regard. But, Ethereum is obviously the second one, right? And there's a lot of people fighting to make sure that the ETF happens. It's not classified as a security. And, when that happens, I think there will definitely be a run there because, institutional money, regardless of what the size is, it is going to flow into some of that.
So yeah, that's how that goes. And that's why you'll start to see more people, I think, that are very stable, just wanted to have the Bitcoin and hold it and, make money off fees of trading of these ETFs and those kind of things too. Because there's money in just creating one of these funds and having a lot of activity around it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. But, these ETFs, they don't necessarily have to own Bitcoin. but they'll own shares of a fund that holds Bitcoin.
That holds
So
Bitcoin. Okay.
yeah. So like indirectly, it's still tied to it. So the ETF will go up and down on a stock market day, the same amount that Bitcoin's going up and down, almost exactly the same amount. So it's like owning it, but now I can buy like the ETF I've been trading is BRRR, which apparently is another meme coin, right, Royce? You were saying when I said that you thought I was trading meme coins?
No, it's the whole money printer go brr. The Fed's printing money.
Yeah. So I've been trading that, and that swings between $17 and $19 to $20. So if you successfully trade well between 17 and some change to about $20, that's a lot of money you can make. And I can buy a lot of shares at $17 and just, make me feel like, yeah, I'm gonna buy 1,000 shares of this right now and just hold on to it and then let it go up. Let's say from 18 to 20. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with making $2,000 sometimes in a span of 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm good with that. I mean, I feel, and maybe I shouldn't be this confident in the two flagship cryptos, but I feel that comfortable in both Ethereum and Bitcoin from my own personal experience of getting it all taken away from me and now getting it back. So now it's almost like there's a part of me that's a little fearless at this point because I felt the worst at one point in time, like I might lose it all. So the worst part of feeling like you lost it all already, you feel like you got nothing to lose. It's like there's
that is a dangerous man.
Yeah. I mean, there's a weird part of it that makes me feel that way. But when I look at how it's climbed from 16,000 and less all the way to 70,000 in a span of a year and a half, and it hasn't fallen off a cliff, and there's more people are participating. Me personally, it makes me feel comfortable. Like I buy these ETFs or collecting Bitcoin through my Gemini credit card every time I pump gas into my my truck and those type of things. So I think the psychology around it has changed. I think some of the reputation around it has changed. And for some people, it's gotten worse. And for some people, they actually feel more comfortable with it now. When you still hear a lot of people saying, I don't know what this is, but people use it. I mean, yeah, it's an asset. So it is what it is. I mean, I can't use gold for anything. I can buy gold. What am I using gold for? So I don't know. Those kind of things.
We'll see. Yep.
But yeah, so I think this is about the time. Bumble got a lot of quiet time. And we're going to give him this little couple of minutes here to just have his little angry black man.
We'll give him the little last 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I don't have like too much stuff that I'm angry about. I don't know. It's like more, I don't know. Like I just have questions like, what do you guys think? Okay, hot take. What do you guys think about this whole Donald Trump thing with the immunity? Like, what do you guys think? I have my thoughts, but I would like to know your thoughts.
I mean, this is your corner, so you give us your thoughts first.
See, my thought is that a president should have some type of immunity when it pertains to national security. But when it pertains to something that benefits him personally, he should not be immune to anything. Meaning, kind of what Donald Trump did, I think he should be held accountable for the things that he does because that has nothing to do with the presidency.
Yeah, what are situations where a president
kill somebody?
Yeah, so you're saying like the Soleimani thing?
Yeah, like if you had to approve for a airstrike, you shouldn't be held accountable because that's part of our national security or whatever the case may be. Those types of things. But like if you're gonna sit there and incite a coup or get a whole bunch of people to do stuff for you, right? If it was just a regular public person, then you would be arrested for it, right? It's the same thing if it benefits you. But my thing is, if you're going to sit there and argue, like, okay, a president should be fully immune. All right, let's go ahead and pass that. But then let's see how Biden handles it. If Biden was in the same situation, would people be feeling the same way? If Barack was in the same situation, would people be feeling the same way? So that's my questions. Those are the things that's been burning because here in Arizona, they're like, no, he should be immune. This is stupid, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but why? I mean, if a president was immune, then why are you guys trying to impeach Biden? Why are you guys making the same claims against Biden that you get, it makes no sense to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think having a president that's immune to everything or above the law, that's antithetical to everything that the United States stands for.
Oh, wait,
right?
100%.
Pause.
100%.
Can you say that word again, Royce? That is a multiple syllable word, Royce.
Booyah.
Man, bruh.
UPS.
Longer. Oh, let's go.
I heard that word before. That's why I was like, touche. Yeah.
Booyah. It's that Iolani.
No. Don't go Iolani. That's UPS, all right? We'll go longer than that one. You guys only do math at Iolani.
No, it was probably Iolani. It was probably Iolani.
No.
So I don't know. It's just like that whole situation. It constant people are just talking about it. So it's like one of those things that drives me crazy. But the thing that drives me the most crazy right now is the state of education in America. Like I don't understand it. Being a teacher, I you know, it's frustrating for the simple fact and it's not so much I'm not frustrated with the kids or anything like that. I'm frustrated with the system. I'm frustrated with parents, where parents try and be the friend instead of the parent. Parents don't want to hold their kids accountable, but they want to hold teachers accountable, or they want to hold schools accountable, or they want to hold the district accountable. But then when you look at your own child, you're like, no, my child is a saint when your child is not a saint. So it's just I don't know. It's frustrating because I feel like we say the new generation is dumber, and I would say they're not dumber, but we give them a lot of outs and we give them a lot of reasons to not work hard, and it starts with things like IEPs. I mean, why do we have so many kids on IEPs just because they read a little slower than other kids? Like I don't understand how a kid gets an IEP just because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. Like, why would you put all of that on a school when it could be something where, no, hold your kid accountable at home, teach them that lesson at home, and then we'll also work on it at school as well. So it's all of those types of things that's just frustrating in this world today. And I feel sorry for the fate of the future because of the way that we're going. It's crazy. It's sad to see on a day-to-day basis, man, for real.
See, that's what I'm looking for when it comes to Angry Backman Corner, Like, that's good stuff. That's some good editorial there. Royce, you want to take a swing at that one? Any reactions, comments to that?
Yeah, I mean, just remember the days when like your teacher would say something about a student or whatever, and your parents would hold you accountable, like because you had some respect for what the teacher was doing. Now that's all reversed. Now it's like if you did something to my kid, it's the teacher's fault.
Yep,
the teacher did something wrong. Yep. I think that's completely backwards.
100. It's sad when you see like good teachers. Like I'm a teacher, and it's like some of the teachers that I look up to. When you see them saying, you know what, I don't want to teach anymore, and then they start to go and look for other careers. That is crazy when you start to see those teachers leave because of how it's going. And it's you wonder why there's a teacher shortage, is because there's no respect, and it's not just from parents, it's also from like the district or admin or whatever the case may be. Me personally, I the admin that I have right now, I think they're good, they're supportive for me. I can't speak for all of the teachers that I work with, but I can see why some people will be frustrated, you know what I mean? But it's a sad situation because all those times where we're growing up, we're looking at and we were babies having babies. So now we're those people that used to complain about our parents or the teachers, but now we're the worst ones trying to hold the teachers accountable for the things that we lack at home, because I want my kid to not go through the struggle that I went through. I don't want to yell at my kid, I don't want to hit my kid, or I don't want to punish my kid, and we're in the state that we're at. So it's sad. And then the AI thing, you guys brought up AI, bro. AI is wiping everything out for these kids. They don't have to. They don't have to read. They don't have to write. They don't have to write cursive. all of those types of things is out the window at this juncture. It is mind boggling what they can do with AI right now in the school. So yeah, it's going to be a sight to see in the near future, man. So yeah.
Well, Bubble, I have very strong feelings about these things. I mean, just like you, I've had the pleasure and the privilege to work with a lot of young people over the last couple decades.
Mm-hmm.
And, what I say nowadays is things are sometimes it's different.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get away from better and try to get away from better from better and worse. And all. I say, it's different. Like, it's just really different. I've seen a ton of what you're saying, and I felt it. It's been directed at me at times. I know it's been directed at you at times. We've been around each other when it's been directed at a group of us at times, where it's our fault first and not what's not being taught at home.
Mm-hmm.
And after the aftermath of those type of things, I've had parents say to me, I guess I need to do more at home. And then in my head, I was like, that's cool that you have that realization, but I need to be dragged into the mud with this because you got this realization late. Yeah, I saw that. So if you guys can't see this right now, Bumble is having a reaction to the Falcons draft pick right now, and his mouth is as wide open.
Oh, wow.
As you can imagine. I mean, you can't even imagine how wide open his mouth is right now.
Wow. Hey.
Bumble, you want to share what the Falcons just did in the NFL draft?
Wait. Let me get my sound effect out for this. The only I can hear.
I get it. I get it. Okay. We need a quarterback of the future. I get it. And being that we don't have a backup quarterback because we traded Ritter, I get it. I thought we would get a quarterback in the second round, right? But I get the pick. However, this is where now angry black man is coming out. However, I, as a Falcon fan, do not feel comfortable with having a quarterback who needs to put his head inside of a box because he doesn't want to look at the rest of the field, or he doesn't have the heart to look at the rest of the field when things are bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just my guy. My guy.
You and I would text about that constantly this season when we saw those clips. It's like, no way, man. You're supposed to be leader of the team. You're leader team. You're not going to be standing behind your guys. No, you're not going to trust that your guy's going to kick that field goal. You're going to trust that defense is going to make the stand.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So just for some perspective, the salary for the 8th slot this year in the NFL draft is $22.38 million guaranteed for 4 years. So it says this is the price of a good backup quarterback in the NFL, about $5 million a year. So in that perspective, it is what it is, right? It is what it is in that sense, right? And Cousins' contract really is at most a 3-year contract. Like that's the thing about NFL contracts recently. Like they have the headline numbers, but when you dig deep, just like Russell Wilson's contract, they're not that long. They seem longer than they really are, but they're not that long. So in 2 years, could Michael Penix be ready to be the Falcons quarterback? Well, he's the same guy, except for he can run faster. But he's the same guy. He's the same guy as Cousins, but he can run faster.
Yeah.
If he doesn't tear his ACL.
I get the pick. It's just from a personal standpoint, I just don't like the optics of looking back and seeing him in those big games. And you can't stare it down the barrel. I want a guy that can stare down the barrel and be like, nope, you got this.
Yep.
So I get it. Yep. I think it's a good pick, but I just, oh man.
But it feels like a pick you could have made later.
This is what I thought we were going to do. I thought we were going to get an edge rusher, and then we were going to pick up Bo Nix in the second quarter. I mean, in the second round.
Bring Bo Nix back to the south. Bring Bo Nix back to the south.
That's what I thought. But it is what it is. Do I want Bo Nix? No, but I thought that could have been a possibility, and it would have been a smart move. So, but it is what it is.
and you still got two very good offensive linemen on the board right now. And you said, and we have it, and there's no defense has been drafted yet, right? So you have the pick of the litter right now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an interesting pick. I get it though in so many ways, but it is an interesting pick. Yeah, I get what they're thinking.
The way that they draft, they take the way that GM drafts, he's going to take the best available at the time. And if someone falls that far, that's how we ended up with a running back last year when we didn't need a running back.
Correct. So, right. But you know what?
So it makes sense.
Can't pass up on Bijan. Just can't pass up on Bijan. So the happiest team right now is the Minnesota Vikings, though. They're two picks back.
The Bears is right now.
Yeah, but they're two picks back against teams that will not grab a quarterback. They're like the happiest team right now.
I think this kid is better than Marvin. That's just me. This kid was, even when he was covered, he was open.
He was big, strong, all that stuff. Yeah, got open. Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, I want to circle back.
Yep.
You want to circle back?
Okay.
Real fast. Just real fast.
All right. Okay.
So as we talk, and we talked about, holding kids accountable or kids being held accountable, I want to share something with you guys that was quite interesting, to say the least. This is an email that I got. Of course, I'm not going to give any names or tell you what it is, but I just want you guys to hear this. Hi, Mr. Wilson. Hi, Mr. Wilson. I'm just curious why I have 23 missing assignments. You barely give me time to do any of them and just keep making more assignments. Well, if you did your assignments when you have time to do them, you wouldn't have 23 missing assignments, right? Or if you came to class and didn't have like 60 absences, you wouldn't have 23 missing assignments. And if you didn't wait until 20 school days out from the end of the school year, you probably wouldn't have 23 missing assignments. So when you get an email from a parent saying, hey, how come my kid is failing? Maybe you should have been on top of those things before the end of the school year. And that is the frustration of most teachers, where parents will wait all the way until the end and be like, why wasn't I notified? Well, don't you have access to your kid portal? Don't you see your kid every single day where you can ask them every single day, how was school? What'd you guys do today? What'd you learn today? Did you finish your homework? Let me see your homework. Do you need help with your homework? So, yeah. But I want to share you the second part of that email really, really fast.
Oh, there's a second part.
Oh, yeah. There's
always a second part, Royce.
There's always a second part. Okay. And it says, but I'm not in your class. I should still be able to do the work, and you grade my stuff that I turn in when I turn it in. Other teachers will print out the papers and give it to me. So I don't understand why you don't do that for me. So my response was, I can print out your assignments, but you have to come to class to get it. I am not hand delivering your work to you that you can come to my class and get. Again, you have 23 missing assignments because you have 60 plus absences, and you have time to do your work in my class during class time. And each assignment takes less than 15 minutes to complete. So, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Accountability. Wow. Accountability.
Yeah. That's crazy. And then I got a follow-up phone call from the parents. Why is my daughter failing? And that's only one. Only one, guys. It's shocking. It's shocking like that. You know what I mean? And I watched a video on someone talking about how other countries and their education are. And I truly believe, I think Sweden has one of the best education systems where there is no standardized testing. I don't believe we should be standardized testing kids, because what are we actually testing them for? It makes no sense to sit here and be like, hey, I want you to take this test of reading, math, science, and history, and it has no weight or bearing of the information that they're getting or receiving. You know what I mean? So and then they modify all of the information anyway. So yeah, it's frustrating.
For sure.
I actually thought about going back to corporate America.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it's like a counselor used to tell me at the school you and I were both at for a long time, that it would drive her nuts when she had seniors, that a week before graduation, they're coming into her office to make sure and and find out if she can help them facilitate a way for them to graduate because they're so far behind. A week before graduation, they would come into her office.
At least it's still like, before.
But you know, just always looking for the bailout. Always looking for the bailout. And I hate using the word always because I talk about always and never being a lot of times with the kids. I talk to them about like we try our best not to use those words because it's very hard to prove those to be true because those mean 100% of the time. We do not do almost anything 100% of the time. Even we don't wake up eventually. So we don't even do that 100% of the time. Yeah. So, but so many times, bailout.
You want to know the ultimate bailout? A policy, if a kid turns something in, give them at least 50 points.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Bro, piece of paper with their name on it, 50 points or 50%.
We might as well not grade at that point, which I'm actually kind of on board with too in so many ways. Because it sometimes goes along the line of the standardized testing. Like, let's just see if we can evaluate their problem-solving skills, their ability to retain some information through application, so it actually sticks better, it anchors better, it shows utility. And if we're not teaching them something that has utility, then what in the world are we teaching it to them for?
I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy out here in the streets, man. It's crazy. Put it this way, Royce, you're gonna get a kick out of this. Yeah, I want you to picture this. Kid that's supposed to be graduating, right? Yeah. Didn't come to school almost the whole school year. Failed every single class that year. Probably had 9 total credits, but they've been in high school for 4 years. Show up to graduation day. Don't go to graduation practice. Show up to graduation. Somehow has a gown, and the parents saying, I understand my kid didn't graduate, but can they please still walk with this class?
What's the point of that even?
just so
they don't lose the experience of being with their classmates and hear their name being
name called. Crazy. What are we doing as parents? What are we doing? What are we doing? So,
man, this thing got real in the last 5 minutes of this podcast.
Yeah. crazy, man.
We should erase the first 45 minutes and just keep this.
No.
Maybe we'll split it into 2.
the state of education.
Yeah.
I think we should put a pin in this one.
Yes.
And come back to this topic. Think about it a little bit. Bumble, get ready for your next 5-minute corner which I always thought would be more than 5 minutes. We just want to get started, because like you said, like you're in that environment. I'm in my environment where I am, and Royce is in this environment where he's working with people around the world and in corporate America. Between the three of us, we're in touch with a lot of different types of communities, some same, but we're also in different locales, which makes a difference, right? Like when I was in ed school, for my master's, like I told they said, what do you remember about your education? What's a memorable thing? And I was like, yeah, I mean, my third grade teacher used to hit me, and they would be like, oh, the gasp I heard in the room when I said it. This was in Sacramento. And old man had to tell everybody because old man was in the class with me, and old man was like, he's from Hawaii. It's a different world over there.
I think they stopped spanking us in school when I got to third or fourth grade. I still remember going to the principal's office and her whacking me with her paddle. And on the paddle, it literally read the words Punisher, and it had 6 holes. So when she swung, you heard the whistle. It was like,
okay. And let's be clear. I am not advocating for beating the crap out of kids or
in no way. I'm just saying
I am not.
Experience I had.
It was just a different experience, and the best part is my mom gave them permission to do it. Different world.
Yes.
Different world.
Parents was like, yeah, he act up, whoop his ass. And then when he gets home, he gets his ass whooped. Then when dad gets home, he gets another ass. I got 3 ass whoopings that day. Didn't do it again. Didn't do it again.
Yeah, I stopped shoving my homework in the back of my desk after that point in 3rd grade. I just never brought my homework home, and I just told my mom, I don't have homework today. So yeah. my mom loves that story. So anyway, I digress. But let's wrap this up. Final thoughts. Bumble, final thoughts before we reconvene.
Final thoughts is been too damn long, and this is fun. I always look forward to doing this. So it's therapeutic in a way because I get to learn things. I learn new things every time I speak with you two, and then get to get things off my chest. So it's fun.
Royce?
Same here. This is the start of season 3, I guess. Season 2 is 1 episode long. Hope season 3 is a little longer before the plug gets pulled. And watch out in September for the Chicago Bears, baby.
Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Oh shit. Here you go.
Final thoughts. JJ McCarthy just went to Minnesota Vikings. I'm a Michigan Wolverine fan. I've been since Harbaugh was a quarterback in Michigan, so that's cool to see that he helped be a part of elevating this and get to this point. McCarthy was projected to be a 2nd-round pick going into this season. Win a national title, get a top 10 pick. That's pretty amazing. But I think what this podcast, especially when we brought you on Bumble, allows me to do, which I enjoy the most of, is these conversations you and I used to have in private.
Yep.
Like this last part of this podcast, like these are conversations you and I had in private a lot. Because we're a lot of times we're working with the same kids. We have, different frustrations about things. We have our backgrounds, have some adversity in our backgrounds. And so we attack things sometimes in very similar ways and sometimes different ways, but understandable. Like we always had this understanding of like, yeah, man, I know where that's coming from. I don't know exactly what you're feeling, but I know where that's coming from. And so like this totally allows this to kind of happen, even though you're like thousands of miles away again. So I think it's just been great. And season 3, watch out. Here we come. And Royce, have fun editing.
Let's go.